Hi there, and welcome to Upon Further Inspection. I'm Dr. M, and this here's my robot pal, Photon.
Hello.
I'm using the hidden themes of video games and movies to teach Photon here what it means to be human. You'll pass that Turing test yet, big guy.
I'm gonna be a real boy.
This episode's test subject, the Babadook. Our story begins with Amelia, a single mother struggling to raise her difficult son, Samuel. I know every kid's got his issues, but this guy has a subscription. The movie quickly establishes just what a handful Samuel is. I mean, just listen to this, and imagine he's trying to get your attention.
Mom? Mom! Mom! Mom? Mom! 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 Mom, look at me! Mommy!
Just listening to that made my ovaries shrivel. Right from the get-go, Samuel is deeply paranoid about unseen monsters, and he's obsessed with protecting his mother from them.
I promised to protect you if you promised to protect me.
This fear drives him to make homemade weapons.
Just like Kevin from Home Alone.
Sorta, but Samuel takes these weapons to school with him. Right at the start of the movie, he gets expelled for waving around a crossbow in class. So Amelia has to work a dead-end job all day, and she's got a violent, delusional son to manage when she gets home. He's not an easy kid to love. Even her own sister says,
Can't stand being around your son. You can't stand being around him yourself.
wow, on our graph of harsh truth and exposition, this scene was off the charts. So, crazy kid, stressed out mom, creepy empty house, we've got the perfect recipe for some spooky happenings. Enter the Babadook. Huh? Not the Babadook.
Wait, what is a Babadook?
One night, Samuel gets to choose his own bedtime story. He pulls a book off the shelf that Amelia's never seen before.
Babadook, dook, dook.
What do you know? This book is pure nightmare fuel. So Amelia stops reading. She even rips the book into pieces, but the damage is already done. Samuel's fear of monsters is on overdrive, and he sees the Babadook everywhere.
Yeah!
Glass in the oatmeal?
The Babadook did it, Mom.
No, Samuel. Your mom just thought the Grinch looked cool when he ate glass, and now she's trying it out for herself.
Am I just eating because I'm bored?
Eventually, Samuel's delusions get so bad, he has an outright fit. So Amelia takes him to a doctor.
I can give you a short course of sedatives. Most mothers aren't too keen on them unless it's really bad.
See, this is obviously an Australian movie. Look how reluctant he is to prescribe anything. If this was the United States, this doctor would be like, "Oh, your kid doesn't like to sit still, huh? Let's try him on some Zoloft, Prozac, tryptophan, acetaminophen, xylitol, capsicum, magical Mr. Mistopheles." Thanks to the drugs. The bliss of sweet sleep. And, the book is back! This time with new pages. That's not a good sign. The horror escalates, as now Amelia is seeing signs of the Babadook too. To make matters worse, Child Protection Services shows up to investigate why Sam isn't enrolled in any school.
How are you? I'm a bit tired from the drugs Mum gave me.
Not drugs, tranquilizers.
Oh, well that's fine then. Sorry to have bothered you. Well, I'll be leaving now. By day, Amelia is locked in deep depression and never leaves bed. Samuel fears the Babadook is going to get inside his mother and possess her, and the Babadook's hold on her is getting stronger and stronger.
I'm sorry, Mummy, I was just really hungry.
If you're that hungry, why don't you go and eat shit?
I believe this belongs to you. The nightmare has become real. Even when she destroys this evil book, it supernaturally repairs itself. The Babadook seems to have murdering on his mind. He starts controlling Amelia and using her to try to kill her own son.
All the supernatural stuff is scaring me.
Or is it supernatural? Photon, I propose to you that there is no Babadook, and everything that happens in this movie can be explained by natural means.
What? But how can that be?
All in good time, Photon. But first, a warning to our viewers. I'll be avoiding spoilers and I won't ruin how the movie ends, but I will be using clips from later in the film. So watch the movie first and then this review if you want to be surprised.
Okay, I've seen it, and I'm dying to know. How can you say there's nothing supernatural about the Babadook?
To answer that, we have to go all the way back to the beginning. It seems like it would be a spoiler, but we find out in the first 10 minutes of the movie that Amelia's husband died in a car crash.
My dad's in the cemetery.
Oh, that's
He got killed driving Mum to the hospital to have me.
Samuel. I'm sorry. No, that's all right. I shouldn't have.
I love how she starts to apologize and then stops.
Well, your mum's very lucky to have you then, isn't she?
Wait, you're replacing this with this? Yeah, that seems like a fair replacement. No wonder this kid is putting pressure on himself to be his mother's protector. If a complete stranger in the grocery store would tell him he needs to be a replacement to his father, how many other times has he heard this in the last 7 years? This kid's on his way to a full-blown Oedipus complex.
Don't do that!
Amelia has carefully built her life around avoiding the reality of her husband's death. She keeps his things locked up in the basement like a museum and tries to keep Samuel from touching any of it.
Don't go down there. It's not safe.
Instead of confronting her grief, she just ignores it and tries to pretend it isn't there. Not unlike the way she treats the Babadook.
I don't mention him. I don't talk about him.
But along with that unaddressed loss over her husband, we get the growing sense that she resents her son. When she plays hooky from work with the excuse that she's got a sick kid, instead of spending time with her boy, she spends all day slacking off at the mall. Even when Sam is directly fishing for comfort and affirmation, she's cold.
I love you, Mum.
Me too.
Oh, burn.
I love you.
I know.
She definitely misses having a lover, but we don't get any evidence that she enjoys being a mother.
But doctor, what does any of this have to do with the Babadook?
Plenty. But first, let's start with where the book came from.
It just mysteriously appears, right?
Ah, but the Babadook book is pretty obviously handmade. If you blinked, you might have missed it, but they do reveal that Amelia is a writer of none other than children's books.
What kind of writing did you do?
I wrote some articles for some magazines and did some kids stuff.
Earlier in the movie, we even saw her reading Julia Cameron's The Artist's Way. Not the sort of book most people would appreciate, but it's the perfect read for a frustrated novelist.
But even Amelia doesn't recognize the Babadook book when Sam takes it out.
That's why it takes a while for the viewer to realize that Amelia is the Babadook.
Why do you have to keep talking?
Amelia herself doesn't know it at first. If you want hard proof, look no further than when the book makes its second appearance. After she's torn the book up, she finds it on her doorstep the next day, fully repaired and with new pages drawn in. She thinks someone is stalking her and goes to the police. But once she's there, she notices ink covering her own hands, ink that looks suspiciously like the ink from those freshly drawn Babadook pages.
This is what he wears on top. He's funny, don't you think?
From the beginning, the Babadook is described as someone wearing a disguise, with a horrible true identity lurking underneath. The second set of pages draws the direct comparison of the Babadook to Amelia in the signature Babadook pose.
But it seems like the Babadook is an outside force that's controlling Amelia, and he's a he. We see the Babadook several times as a man's suit. Later, he takes the form of Oscar, her dead husband.
That's because it's her unresolved grief that's the trigger for all this. The movie takes place right before Samuel's birthday, the same as Oscar's death day, and let's just say she isn't handling it well.
Leave it!
The basement is home to all of Oscar's things, and the symbolic home of her grief, and the Babadook. Samuel seems comfortable going to the basement to engage with his loss and Oscar's old things, but Amelia keeps it sealed.
He's my father, you don't own him!
She's unable to move on, and the longer she goes without treating her depression or confronting her grief, the worse it gets. She's so stuck in the past that even when new chances for happiness come knocking, she sends them packing. Remember when Amelia left work early claiming to have a sick kid, but instead spends the day goofing off at the mall? The sweet coworker who covered her shift stops by to check on the sick kiddo, bringing flowers for Amelia. Unfortunately, the truth comes out.
I'm not sick.
Awkward.
I hate you! She won't let me have a birthday party, and she won't let me have a dad!
Oh, so you have one of those two-mother household things going on. I get it. The Babadook's shadow passes over the car, and she swerves into a tree in a subconscious suicide attempt. She doesn't know what to do with her life for this son she never connected to, so she tries to end her life to join Oscar in death. This theme is echoed later when the Babadook manifests as her dead husband.
We can be together. You just need to bring me the boy.
Confronting her grief is too painful. Amelia is set on escaping, whether by sleeping days away with sedatives or ending it all in a bloody family reunion through a murder-suicide. Amelia enters a fugue state when she becomes the Babadook. When she recovers, she remembers nothing of what she did.
Ah, so the Babadook is a symbol for her grief.
That's what I thought the second time I watched this movie, but there's still one more layer to peel back. It's quite common for new mothers to experience something called postpartum depression, a moderate to severe depression with symptoms including intense irritability and anger, overwhelming fatigue, lack of joy in life, severe mood swings, difficulty bonding with the new child, the mother having thoughts of hurting herself or her child. Without adequate treatment, postpartum depression can last for months or even years. A more severe form of postpartum depression is called postpartum psychosis, with even more extreme symptoms, hallucinations and delusions, paranoia, and attempts to harm yourself or your baby. Postpartum depression is treatable, but Amelia isn't getting help. Instead, she stuffs her feelings, denies her grief, and disconnects from Samuel. And then the Babadook starts making its appearance. Upon further inspection, I propose to you that the Babadook is actually the manifestation of Amelia's mental illness. It explains her emotional disconnect from Samuel, her attempts to harm her child, and even her hallucinations. The truly horrifying thing is that Samuel seems to know full well about his mother's frequent breaks from reality. Even before the Babadook book makes its first appearance, he's already obsessed with protecting her from unseen monsters. He's seen his mother snap before. All the weapons he's developed, he uses to protect himself from Amelia when she's in her Babadook state. One of the weapons he even got his mom to buy while she was in her Babadook fugue state.
Where did you get those firecrackers?
You got them for me on the internet.
Oh, that's the end of the internet.
Did you catch that? She bought them for him on the internet, and now she doesn't even remember. Samuel is fully aware of Amelia's dual nature, and he still desperately loves her.
Mum told Dad he didn't want to go to your house because it's too depressing. The Babadook would eat your mum for breakfast.
Aw, it's kind of a my dad could beat up your dad sort of thing. My monstrous incarnation of a mother could eat your mum for lunch.
It'd rip her arms off.
Even better. The horror escalates for the final confrontation. Will Amelia be able to confront her grief and dysfunction in time to avert disaster? Or will Samuel meet a bloody end at the hands of his own mother? Wait, what? The stock Tyrannosaurus sound effect from Land Before Time? A sound clip that's since been used in a million other projects? Aw, way to ruin a climactic scene. Don't filmmakers watch enough movies to know that these sounds are stock and cheesy? But overall, this movie does what every good horror movie should. It gave me the chills, and it was surprisingly multi-layered. I enjoyed watching The Babadook the first time as just a straight-up boogeyman spook fest, but I enjoyed it on subsequent viewings as I developed new theories and hunted for new details as to the true identity of the Babadook. I used to find Samuel really annoying, but now I see him as sympathetic. Possibly even the tragic hero of the story. Amelia's psychosis keeps her from truly loving her son, but he never gives up on loving her. Even when she hurts him, he's still concerned with protecting her. He's lived with his mother's mental illness so long, he's been forced into a role of caring for both of them.
I can call Auntie Claire. I can call her and she can come over.
Whew! Pretty sad stuff. But it's a great story and masterfully executed. The cinematography is tight and moody, using shades of black and gray to give the movie a washed-out look reminiscent of the storybook itself. Essie Davis does a masterful job as Amelia. Her performance pulled me into the story right from the start. And kudos to the filmmaker for not slathering her with makeup.
According to my internal database, The Babadook was written and directed by a woman, Jennifer Kent.
I had no idea. Thank you, Jennifer, for showing Hollywood that women in horror movies can be more than sex pots and murder victims. What have you learned today, Photon?
I learned that postpartum depression is surprisingly common and can be quite serious. If only Amelia had sought out proper treatment.
That's a good point, Photon. And if there's any viewers out there who relate to the feeling of being depressed for some time now, maybe take this as a sign to get some help, even if it's just for a little while. Sometimes a small improvement is just what you need to have the strength to tackle bigger issues.
There is no struggle, there is no progress.
That's it, big guy. You're becoming more human already. Thanks for watching this episode of Upon Further Inspection. If you liked it, click subscribe and leave a comment below. It takes a village to raise a robot, so I'd love to hear what you thought of the Babadook and this review.
See you next time!